iTunes' most popular podcasts. Considered to be entertaining, informative, and downright hilarious by their listeners. It's Friday, and you're listening to Russell and Mudtooth on Radio Random Network. Take it away, boys.
I'm hashtag RDM Russell Devin McLean.
And I'm Hash Brown Mudtooth.
It seems like it's been forever, but it's only been about 3 weeks, Mudtooth.
I know. Well, I'm glad to be here.
Got a lot of things going on. Been going on. We've missed a lot of things. A lot of good things. Well, a lot of bad things has happened as well.
Yeah.
Paris.
Yeah. Got all kind of, them son of a bitches.
Ronda Rousey got beat.
You know what? I'd like to take this opportunity to just offer my condolences and my sincerest. Miss Rousey, I want to offer myself if you need consoling or comforting.
Me too.
I give really good hugs, and I do, and I would be glad, like if your shoulders or your knuckles or your knees or anything else were to be in pain, I'd be glad to rub that for you with the ointment and or scented oil of your choice.
There you go.
I just, I'm all about helping people, and I'd like to help her.
I would offer the same services, but my woman listens to the show.
Well, I'll say this also. To the lady who beat her, if your knuckles are if I do that. I got to say though, I like that Rousey a little bit more.
Everybody got on her because she was bragging. Oh,
well,
you know what? When you go so many fights and you just beat everybody's ass, I would be bragging too.
Yeah, but I think it's probably because she just needs some hugging. And that's all. I think, and I believe, and I don't think it's gonna happen now. I don't believe I got no shot at it. But if she would,
never know.
If she, she was gonna go to the prom with the Marine or whatever the hell it was. I don't know. But
God bless America.
That's it. Semper Fi. But I would, I believe that if I, gave her the right, if I put the Mudtooth charm on her, she'd quit all that.
Well, I know one thing is for sure, and that's Ronda Rousey. She's gonna come back.
Oh yeah,
and she's gonna.
So what the hell else she gonna do?
Well, she's got Roadhouse is coming out, not with Patrick Swayze.
Yeah,
Ronda Rousey.
That's right. She's gonna be nice until it's time to not be nice.
Right. And then she's gonna tear out Hollywood's fallopian tubes and play
is Sam Elliott gonna be in that one? I hope he is.
I hope so too. He's still living.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, he's still living. As far as I know, yeah, because he does the Ram. The Ram. He does the voice for the Ram trucks commercial.
That's him.
That's him. Just listen to it. If you listen to it, you can see that mustache.
Well, on the other, I guess as we move on here to other controversial things, and I'm going to tell you, I've been paying attention to some football.
Well, good for you. Welcome.
Yeah.
Welcome, brother.
And I've actually been listening. Like last week, I listened to the thing from the LaBerge Casino in Baton Rouge about Les Miles, which I have hardly kind of understand what's going on. I don't really understand. I know one thing. Football fans are just like wrestling fans. They damn crazy.
Well, the best and worst thing that can happen to a college football team is to win a national championship. Because what happens once you do that is your fans get to expecting it.
Right.
And before we get too much further, I'd just like to say, I love scotch.
Yes, and what
Scotchy scotch. Here it goes down into my belly.
Yeah, everybody take a drink. Kind of like we on stage.
Ah, that is good. We're drinking scotch tonight, folks, because Russell... we've been doing some beer reviews, and
it's been a couple of weeks, buddy.
Right, it's been a couple of weeks, and Russell brought some beer over here from a local brewery, local Louisiana brewery.
Kingfish out of Mandeville, Louisiana.
Yeah, from the Chafuncta Brewing Company. And
that's out of Folsom.
That's an old Indian word, means house trailer. And I know I'm just picking. I don't know what it means. But anyway, I opened mine up, and it's kind of tough. It's kind of tough. And he said, "Well, look, it might be bad." And yeah, it's about a month out of date. So
I didn't think beer went bad.
Well, I mean, I don't. Well, no. See, a beer will. It will go bad. It's not like, you distill alcohol. It will go bad.
Right.
And yeah, it'll get skunky on you. And so I broke out the scotch, and what we are having is an 18-year-old Jura, which is Jura, made on an island which is just off the coast of Scotland. And it is fine whiskey. I recommend it to any of y'all have the means. Please purchase a bottle.
So this was made with somebody wearing a kilt, or yeah, that's Scott, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they was wearing a dress when they made it or not. I don't know what the uniform is.
This is 18 years old, and you calling the beer out of date.
Yeah, but that's different. You can't drink 18-year-old beer.
Well, you can. You might not like the outcome.
You probably dropped dead.
But back to the LSU thing.
Yeah.
Break this, because I know you've been following it, because
what
I understood of it was the towel boy heard somebody say something other about something, and he told somebody else something, and the next thing I know, Les Miles is getting fired.
Okay, well, I mean, I am an avid LSU football fan. Now, I'm not as rabid as some. I can't, tell you what the quarterback had for supper last night, and some people can, okay, and will believe that has some sort of outcome on his performance. But it's just crazy talk. I don't do that, but I do go to home games, and we lost 3 in a row. Right. Now, mind you, we got a running back that, could pull this house with him. We got good talent. We got a good talent on the football team, okay? And they really probably wasn't the reason we should have lost 3 in a row. Now, a lot of people blamed it on the coach, said that he was being hard-headed and that he would not adapt his playing style, and they was ready to burn his house down. Now, I will say this. In the week that between, all right, that went on for where it was like, all right, folks, he's fixing to get fired. In that week, the man, he does, he has regular things and press meetings that he does every week. Okay. He has a radio show on Wednesday nights. I don't know who he pays to tell him what to say and what to do, but they need a raise, because in that week between he's getting fired, let's all go burn his house down, to the last home game, which was Texas A&M. Right. All that had completely changed. Everybody loved him. At the radio show, they was grown men crying. You heard me, folks. Grown men shedding tears that the man was going to be getting fired. And he took it all with just, I'll always be a Tiger. He looked real humble. He never did. And look, when I'm telling you, at that ball game, which, folks, first off, if you've never had the privilege, I'm going to call it that. If you've never had the privilege to attend a night game on Saturday night in Tiger Stadium in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, you need to immediately try to get one scheduled for next year, because it is electric. All right. And especially, and sometimes it's more electric than others, because sometimes, they play, them little knockoff schools like, Little Sisters of the Poor or whatever it is, and them ain't too electric, okay? But whenever they play Alabama or Texas A&M or Ole Miss at home, and folks, we got Alabama and Ole Miss both at home next year. That would be 2 good games. You ain't never heard nothing like that. Yeah, it's just right. It's just it gets all in you. It got all in me, and hell, I wasn't even drunk.
It was in it.
I had it running all through me. And But he walked out on the field, and everybody lost their mind. And he looked around there, and he kind of knew what was going on. And when he took his cap off, and then everybody really cheered. And I said right then, I said, well, ain't no way they're going to fire him tonight. If they do, they'll burn this school down. You know?
Well, I mean, $15 million payout, I'd be a Tiger for life and humble as hell myself.
One thing about it is, I believe what it is. I think he likes it there. Man's 62 years old. I mean, I think he probably wants to retire at LSU. And I don't think he wants to go out, even though he'd have, $15 million extra in his pocket.
Right.
I don't think he wants to go out as the guy who got run off.
That way, right.
So that's me. I mean, look, nice guy. I've met him before. Very nice guy. Just a wonderful fella. Sometimes I could reach through the TV and choke him. I could. Because I can sit there. And mind you, all I know of coaching college football come from playing NCAA on the damn PlayStation. Okay? But I'm telling you, I know what works on there.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure that I could get it to work in real life.
Yeah, I played Pee Wee football, damn it.
That's right.
Yes, indeed. Which I did not play. Well, I did, actually. 2 games. And then
I played football in high school. I didn't start.
They wanted me to.
You got the size.
Yeah, I was going to be a rock star.
Well, and that's all right, too. Just because a fella's big don't mean everybody ain't got to want to, and that's all right.
It was all that hollering and stuff I didn't care for.
Oh, the only time Coach hollered at you when you've done something stupid, and you didn't want that to happen. But it was, I tell you what, I wouldn't trade nothing for it. It was, like I say, I didn't start. The only time I got to play was if we was either beating somebody real bad or getting our butt whipped real bad. And so either one of those.
You would say that now. On them games where y'all were just getting pummeled.
Yeah.
In which you were, was it Kentwood High?
No, I was at Oak Forest Academy in Amite, Louisiana.
Okay, but I
wouldn't even been second string Kentwood High School.
That's what I was going to say. I mean,
that's big.
Now, on them games where y'all were losing, like when they put y'all in, did y'all try to? I mean, was it like real serious? Like, did you get on the field and like?
Oh, you tried to remember because you got to remember I was a tackle. All right, now folks, I'm 5'9". Okay, I'm 5'9", and back then, my fighting weight was 195 pounds. So. I was on the offensive. I was offensive, and back then you played both ways. You didn't have enough people. We didn't to have an offense and a defense. So you played both ways, and so I was an offensive and defensive tackle because I could not run fast, and I could not throw the ball, and so as a tackle, it was you hit the guy in front of you or either one to his left or to his right, and I can handle that. So you was just trying to remember who you were supposed to hit. And that was, I'm going to tell you something. I didn't play football until I was my sophomore in high school. I had never had the opportunity. I didn't go to a school that had a football team. So I was way behind the curve when I came on. And I was, be honest with you, I was a little afraid of the hitting.
Right.
Until I did it. And when I did it, that first lick I put on somebody, I said, I like this. It's all right. And I had a good time. Like I say, I wouldn't try to make lifelong. I'm still friends with the guys I played football with in high school.
Right.
And it's, it's stuff you don't forget. And I can just imagine what it's like on a college level, the friendships that you make there.
Right.
But, I wouldn't trade nothing for it. I wasn't worth shit. But, I wasn't worth shit. And anybody I tell you that I played with will tell you that, if they being honest with you, they tell you that I was a good dude and I kept everybody laughing.
Mudtooth was on the team?
Right, but I wasn't worth shit.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, but it was fun.
Wow. I remember the coach actually going to my mother and talking to her out in LaRange. I think it was Rigsby.
Was it Coach Klein?
No. Coach
Do you have a picture of Roy Orbison on his butt?
No. Mama, Mama didn't want me playing. I was the baby.
The foosball. You can't be playing that foosball.
I was the baby.
Yeah.
6 whatever.
Big as a
6'5".
door.
Yeah, I was bigger than the whole damn football team, pretty much. The biggest guy. I would have been the biggest one on the field.
Yeah.
He's just a kid.
Mm-hmm.
He be done got hurt.
Yeah.
So I went into playing music, and that's all she wrote.
Well, I mean, you didn't get hurt. So.
I remember that too. I remember having to play. I don't know if you remember the old Regency or not.
First gig I ever played was at the Regency.
Me too. First real gig that I got paid.
That was me. The first gig I had with a band was at the Regency, and that was an experience, man.
I had to call my mama every break.
Is that place still open?
It is. I think it's called something else now. I don't know what the name of the place is, but it is open.
Folks, all right, you got to understand, this is a bar room that's, all right, it is located near
the airport.
The Hammond, Louisiana Municipal Airport, okay, or what some people used to call Marijuana International. I don't think it's that way no more back in the day, And this is, Hammond's not a real big town. I'd say probably maybe 100,000 people. It might not be that many. And it's a college town. And this is in like the seediest of the seedy areas. Matter of fact, I don't know if they still. It used to be a damn hotel back there behind it.
I think it's apartments now.
Okay. Oh my word, that's even worse. Making people pay rent.
Yeah, I would probably not much.
Now it was probably. I can see where it was probably a good idea, like back in the day. Have you a little hotel there because fella, meets a lady in the bar room, and he can just kind of handle his business right there.
Hourly rate.
Yeah, you can just handle your business right there.
2 hours, $50.
Yeah.
Not that I know from experience. I'm talking from people that I've talked to.
But yeah, that was man. That was I played some places, man, but I went in that was one time. I only went in there once. Actually,
I probably could have, those people in there, I could have convinced them to put me in as mayor.
Yeah.
They loved me, which, I mean, it was like that.
I don't really know how to take that.
It was like that grandson, grandmother, grandfather. They was all old enough to be my.
Oh, yeah. I was the one that, they was some old gal come in there.
She sings Satin Sheets, didn't she?
No. She didn't sing nothing. She come in there, and she had to be. She was a good 65 years old.
She was dead by the time I come up there.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that she was a good 65. And if she wasn't, she had some hard miles on her. But she was a good 65 years old. She had her hair all did, and she had some of them glasses that. Like they light at the top and they fade and they get dark down at the bottom. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
And they's kind of big. Mm-hmm. And they're probably real popular back in like 1982, but this wasn't then. And she had a cowboy hat, a felt cowboy hat that had that feathered hat band like they had an Urban Cowboy. They had the rooster feathers out the back.
Oh my God!
All right. She was wearing a one-piece. Sparkly blue bathing suit. That's right, folks. I said bathing suit. And some short shorts and high heel shoes. That's what this woman wore.
I mean, that don't, bro.
Now, wait a minute. Now, she was drunk when she got in there.
She was drunk when she got dressed.
But then she started really working on it.
Oh.
And then she went to, she get out there and get to dancing. And it was very, very provocative. And she get to rolling on the floor. Man, it's like watching your grandma do that, you know. Yeah. And we had old boy. What was that old boy's name? He was playing steel guitar.
Was it Mac Perkins?
Mac Perkins.
From My Independence.
Yeah, and Mac was playing steel. And she leaned over there, was trying to kiss him. And I didn't know his arms could get that long. He would lean way back. And he was still playing now. God bless him, he's a professional. He never stopped playing. And he was leaned way back as far as he could, trying to keep away from her. And then she got up, and somehow or another they let her talk on the microphone. And she'd been missing her car for like a week. And if anybody knew where it was,
I just want to let everybody know.
Yeah, if y'all seen my car, I said, my God, man. And I was like, because back then. this was before, like, if you was 18, you could drink, you know. And so I was like 19 years old. I was like, what the hell, man? These damn old people's lost state. I ain't never been around. I never drank around old people, you know. And we just, you know, like in high school, you know, we'd go
hang out at the Sunpark parking lot?
Yeah, we'd go hang out at the parking lot, you know, and, you know, drink beer and stuff. But I didn't, and I know, look, my daddy listens to this. Well, you know what? I'm 41 years old now. That's right. It's okay. You know, but I did my share. And you know what? He did his share, too.
Well, they all did.
You know.
He might not tell you.
Right. Oh, he told me.
Oh,
yeah, he told me first time he did the first.
I don't know if you want to tell
No, I'll tell it because it's funny. He said the first time he drank beer, they said they had this old boy that lived in the community that they lived in. And he wasn't what you call right in the head. All right. And he said he would like rack pools at the back then they had pool halls, you know?
Right.
And he would like rack balls at the pool hall, you know. He didn't have them, like I say, but they gave him some money, and him and some friends of his, and the old boy went and bought them all a quart of beer. He said, and they got way out of town before they even dared open it, you know, just scared to death. Daddy said the first sip of beer he took a sip of it. He said, boys, y'all check y'all's. I think mine's spoiled. He didn't know what it's supposed to taste like. He didn't know what it's supposed to taste like, you know. But he said he couldn't believe people chase after that stuff, you know. But, of course, it does grow on you, you know.
It does. Talking back to the Regency, you know, I remember being in there, and they had a guy, I think his name was Blair or whatever. He was a security, you know. And, God, I've seen the old people argue. Never seen none of them fall out scrapping. But
I seen that one time. I'll tell you about that.
We up there playing, and the dance floor wasn't no big. I mean, you remember. If you've been there, you know I'm not going to go all into that, but it's in the middle of a slow song. They got this old guy, and he's just kind of shuffling across the dance floor, you know.
Mm-hmm.
The guy said, sir, you gotta move faster. He said, this is the fastest that I can go. You know, I mean, just... God, it was fun. It was that scary fun because I never knew what to expect.
Right, you didn't know what was going to happen. Look, you talking about old people fighting. They used to have a place end of the line.
Yes.
I saw these two. I know they had to have been 70 years old, each one of them. Two old men went to fighting, and I've never seen a fight that was that slow.
It lasted 15 minutes.
In all my life. I mean, just like a punch. Like you thought you would think it was slow motion. Mm-hmm. And they was hitting each other. Not hard, you know. But they were hitting each other. I don't know what it was about. I can't imagine what it was about. One of them, you know, stole the other one's false teeth. Shit, I don't know.
That's my girl.
Yeah. And you know what? It might have been shit. Maybe he didn't put his glasses on.
Probably.
You know, and maybe Sally looked like Sue. I don't know. You know, but it was something. And the security guards, like they went over there, and you could tell they didn't want to grab them old men, you know, and hurt them. You know, they kind of, I think, talked them out of, you know, whatever they was doing.
It's not worth it, guys.
Yeah, come on, you know, that's back to the home, fellas. Back to the home.
Don't make me call the van.
That's right.
You know, but them old people, I'll tell you what, they would spend money.
Oh, yeah, they spend money. They got money. They done retired, man. They got money.
Right.
Did I tell you what happened to me at the Burger King Baton Rouge last week?
No, you didn't.
I walk into Burger King. Not the Burger King, Wendy's. It was Wendy's. Yeah, and I'll be honest with you. I like Wendy's. I like them square hamburgers they got. They pretty good.
They are.
Anyway,
rather expensive.
I walked in there. Yeah, they were. But, you know, it was all right. You know, I was going to spend a little money, get me something good to eat. I was living high on a hog. I was going to Wendy's, you know.
Fast food.
Right. And I walk in there, and there's a line, and I'm at the back of the line. And there's a fella in front of me, and he's probably about 6.5 foot tall. And I saddled up there behind him, you know, I'm standing there. Well, he turned around there and looked at me, and he was probably in his late 20s. I'm going to guess between 28 and 30 years old. And he looked at me, and I could tell he was sure enough straight crazy. I'm talking about this son of a gun's just nuts. And he said, "How you doing?" I said, I'm all right. How are you? I'm okay. And he went to giggling, and he wanted to give me a high five. So I was playing his game, and he said, it's about hunting time. I said, yeah, it is. He said, I had 30 deer out there in my yard. I said, why didn't you shoot one? He said, well, I killed me a 12-point with my pellet gun. I said, that's good. I said, well, that's good.
Are you serious?
I'm saying, what I'm telling you is true. Okay, this is it. And then he said, and he just went right into it, because I said, well, that's good. That's good that you shot that deer. And then he stopped for a second, and he said, I planted potatoes one time. I said, did you? He said, yeah. He said they got that big round, and I'm telling folks, you can't see me, but I'm
not as big as
like a pumpkin, like
yeah.
a jack-o'-lantern pumpkin. I said, well, that's the biggest one I ever seen. He said, man, it's hard to get up out of the ground. And about that time, this woman come out of the bathroom who was obviously his handler. And she come walking up there, and she said, I'm with him. I said, well, I'm so glad that you are, yeah, because I just couldn't imagine him being by himself. Oh, no, the first thing he told me, he said, I've been at work all day, and I thought to myself, no, you ain't, but I'm going to see where this goes, So, yeah, folks, just, let me tell you something. If you end up behind a crazy person, now look, he wasn't going to hurt nobody. He wasn't, he wasn't that dangerous crazy. He was just what I call that walking around crazy, and if you ever saddle up behind one of them at the fast food joint, talk to them there for a minute. But that was about 15 minutes of quality entertainment.
And not only that, in his defense, it makes their day.
Sure.
A lot of people.
Look, he was just tickled as he could be, for me to talk to him. And I could have been an asshole, and said, man, leave me alone, you crazy son. But I didn't, I just, sat there and listened to it. And it was pretty entertaining.
The same thing happened to myself and Tanya's mother at the bowling alley there. We all brought all them kids over there to do bowling. We outside smoking a cigarette. Now, the dude was cool.
Uh-huh.
You can tell. And I talked to him, and he was talking about he made his own clothes and whatever. That's fine. They to each their own. We were cool. And then he started lecturing me about...
So he's a tailor.
That's what he said.
Mm-hmm.
Now, but I mean, he had rustlers or whatever it was on.
Right.
He
Well,
made his jeans.
Yeah,
But he started telling me about smoking. Now, I don't know if he realized it or not, but I was chain smoking.
Right.
I'd smoke one, put the other one out, and lit one,
right.
Lit the other one right up. He lectured me about, 10 minutes about how smoking kills.
Mm-hmm.
I almost told so does fat guys that don't want to be with.
Right, that's true.
But, I sat there and let him listen. I listened to him for a minute, and then Tanya's mama, she went ahead and just run him off.
You just get out of here, you.
She got to talk a little bit crazier than he did.
Yeah. So he said, that's it. I'm out.
But
I'm gonna tell you something, man. Crazy people, they can be fun. I had a friend of mine that he was a probation officer, and he every now and again they'd put one on probation or something, and they'd send him out there to nut house because they was not guilty by reason of insanity or whatever. And so we'd have to go out there and get information on him. He said he goes out there and he's talking to this old boy, and ask just basic information, your name, age, social security number, this kind of thing. Were you employed? He said, yep. He said, by who? He said, NASA. He said, really? What was your job? And guy looked at him straight face, said, space cadet. I said, what'd you do? He said, I wrote it on the form, space cadet.
And then in his head, the 2001 Space Oddity started playing.
Space cadet. I'm telling you something, people, crazy people can be fun.
You talking about that, and we've spent, playing music, being out. It's the nightlife.
Oh, yeah.
You meet a lot.
There ain't no good life, but it's my life.
That's the damn truth.
I know.
Okay. But you meet a lot of different people, and a lot of times, like you talked about the end of the line up here on Highway 16, we played there a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. We was in there all the time.
Home there, they got the other stores down there around the A-Meat, Louisiana side.
Mm-hmm.
I used to stop there and then used to get me something to eat, whatever, some bag of chips or whatever.
Yeah, something much on the way home.
Usually, you play there. You play the place once or twice a month. You stop there once or twice a month. The people get to know you. Well, they had this one fella in there, and he's kind of heavy set. And I don't want to mention the guy's name because I'm sure everybody knows him.
Mm-hmm.
But he told me a similar thing. He said he worked for one of the computer outfits. And, something about he was under investigation over some kind of computer chip that, is a mass killer. And
oh, shit.
Needless to say, that night that he told me all that, that was the last time I stopped at that store.
Yeah, you got to change stores at that point. Once like I say, it's... Now, look, I'm going to tell you something. If I go... And I probably won't be back in that Wendy's because the reason I say it, because when they got up to the cash register in front of me, the old gal said, "Man, where you been? I ain't seen you." I was like, "Okay, he comes in here all the time. I ain't got. I go to another one."
Well, we talking about people. There's musicians.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
The same way.
Let me tell you a story. I'm gonna leave it there. You know what I'm talking about.
God bless him.
Yeah, God bless him.
I'm not gonna mention his name, but let me tell you something about that fella. And then I don't want to mention the name because I actually like him.
Right. Well, I mean, he's all right, but he's living proof that you can't fight genetics either.
Right.
Okay. I mean,
about that.
You just can't fight genetics.
But you can give him a song, any song in the world.
Uh-huh.
I don't care what it is, and he'll play it note for note.
Well, but this is what I believe. Now, I've been around people that's real good musicians. I've been around people who are very, very smart professors, okay?
Right.
And I believe that when you go all in your brain capacity, okay, in one section, like, okay, I'm all in on the music end. I'm all in on the academic end. I'm all in on the mathematics end.
Right.
Something's got to suffer. Okay, something's got to suffer in there.
Right.
Because how many times you tell me the best, I'm talking about the showing off best musicians they flaky, man.
They're not only flaky.
They not wrapped too tight. Now look, they are, just wonderful at what they do, but they are not wrapped too tight.
And I hope none of the people that we're talking about are probably thinking I'm talking about myself or you're talking about yourself.
It's just the way it is. I ain't gonna I ain't calling nobody out. And if you're one of these people and you don't realize it, take a look in the mirror. I mean, look, hey, I'm glad you were wonderful, whatever you play, but or that you're the best professor or whatever. I'm just telling you. Something's got to suffer. You can't. I don't know what it is. It's just like I only got so much to do up like your brain. It's like I can only work so hard. Okay, so if I put all my eggs in this basket, well, the part over here is just gonna flip out. I see people like that. I got people like that I work with, and it's like
it's kind of scary.
It is. It's like they don't deal with people very well,
Right.
And it's just, like when you talk to them, it kind of weirds them out, and, they don't know what to...
driving me,
yeah.
dog.
It's just weird, No, but see, that's the thing about it is, like, I like to think, look, I'm a pretty fair harmonica player.
Right, yeah.
I got a decent voice, and I can play enough rhythm guitar to get by. But... I like to think of myself as fairly intelligent. I'm touted as the world's smartest redneck.
That's it.
And
that's not self-proclaimed.
However, I'm lucky enough to be well-rounded, and I am. If y'all ever meet me, you'll know that I'm well-rounded.
Yes.
But I'm a well-rounded individual in that I'm also a people person. I like to talk to people, and I like to make them laugh and feeling home. So, that's, and I feel like you're the same way.
Definitely.
And so, we're kind of anomalies in that. But if you tell you something, if you meet people, it's like, like I'm sure like Beethoven, I'm sure he was a flake. I bet you couldn't be around him.
And you talking about, there's actually guys that have been there, like recording artists.
Mm-hmm.
And as a matter of fact, not too long ago, I had dealings with one.
Mm-hmm.
And I just, not that I didn't like the dude. The dude, great music. And I don't want to mention his name neither. I don't want to offend anybody.
No, absolutely not.
But, and don't get me wrong, this guy's the real deal.
Mm-hmm.
He's been there. He's done it, and he's still doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And got all the respect in the world for it. I had to stop answering my phone.
Yeah.
one 15-minute conversation to turn into 3 hours.
Yeah.
Of him.
Yeah,
talking.
you can't have that.
And it was just, I love the stories, but
Yeah, but damn, man.
Yeah, right. And I had to let him go. Well, with that said, we're going to go ahead and let our buddy Paul Gibson, who, and if you don't know who he is, he's the voiceover guy that does this commercial that's fixing to play, talk about the Nothing But the Hits tour. And when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about Nothing But the Hits tour. And we've got a special guest coming up. So with that said, we're going to take a short pause. We'll be right back. Don't go nowhere.
I'll have a blue Christmas without you.
The Nothing But the Hits Christmas Tour, starring Ronnie McDowell and Friends, is a one-of-a-kind show you don't want to miss. 20 of the music industry's most talented artists and musicians will take the stage in 16 of America's greatest cities in the Nothing But the Hits Tour. See multi-million selling artists like Ronnie McDowell.
Older women are beautiful lovers. I said older women, they understand.
Plus, Jeff Bates.
Starting with some long, slow kisses.
Ken Mellons.
All promise to know jukebox junkies.
And Deborah Allen.
But baby, I lied when I told you I could walk away.
Plus, Amber Hayes, Tia Goins, Mandy Barnett, Nadira Shakur, and Tommy Cash will do a tribute to his brother, one of the greatest country legends of all time, Johnny Cash.
I fell into a burning ring of fire. I went down, 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 and the flames went higher.
Don't miss the Nothing But the Hits Christmas Tour, starring Ronnie McDowell and Friends, and featuring some of the greatest icons of country music. For a tour schedule, artist lineup, and ticket information for your city, just go to nothingbuthehits.com and click on Tour Schedule and Ticket Information. And be sure to like Nothing But the Hits on Facebook.
Blue, blue, blue Christmas.
All right, we're back here at the
Yes,
Mudtooth and
indeed.
Russell Show on the Radio Random Network.
You
Nothing
know,
but the hits.
That's coming up here in a couple of weeks.
That is, if I'm not mistaken.
Matter of fact, a week from Saturday. Is that
That's it?
right? Yeah,
Is it the
that's
12th?
right. It's the 12th. That's a week from this. Yeah, that's a week
It's
from
at the-
week from tomorrow.
The Grand Opry House of the South.
And I did a little research on that place.
Come on.
And that place has been around for quite some time. And it looks like just a beautiful old building that they restored. And the pictures I see, it looks just phenomenal.
That's awesome. We're going to be gracing with our presence there.
That's right.
Mudtooth will be on hand.
That's right.
Can't wait.
I want to see that Mandy Barnett.
That Mandy Barnett, Deborah Allen, Jeff Bates,
Yeah.
Ken Mellon.
Now look, that Jeff Bates guy, did I see him a little while back?
On the docket? Yeah.
No.
I'll take that back, Jeff. We love you.
I think I seen a video of him singing a duet with Loretta Lynn. And he was doing like a Conway and Loretta song. He was doing Conway's part. If I remember right, he done a pretty fair job.
He does. He made it as a, little background on Jeff. And, excuse me, eat nice. Thanks, Tanya. Jeff Bates is actually a Mississippi boy. Mm-hmm. Okay. And he was a songwriter. He was a young man at the time. He got into some trouble. He was doing some time. But while he was doing time, some of his songs got picked up. So he was able to, I guess, pay his restitution or pay his debt to society.
Well, good.
Got out, straightened himself up. But that was one of his gimmicks, or whatever you want to call it, was the ability to sound
like Conway.
Or almost like Conway, yes. But the man, Ronnie McDowell, which his name is, he's the, I guess, I don't want to say headliner, because Ronnie, he's fairly humble. But
Well, it's Ronnie McDowell and Friends, so let's call him the headliner.
Okay, well, he's the headliner, but Ronnie McDowell actually does a hell of a Conway Twitty impersonation.
I heard that. I know he does a good Elvis.
He does. As a Matter of fact, you can go back to the Tuesday show that's airing. I was on there with Ronnie McDowell, who talks about nothing but the hits and everything that's going to be going on. And also Marlon Hargis from Exile, who that was the second time he's been on the show. And, in this, I don't know what you would, industry, business, whatever you want to call this.
Let's call it business.
Yeah, in this business.
That's what I'm talking about. Let's get real now. Let's call it business.
I guess the key is networking, creating relationships. And I have to say, if one thing I was thankful for over the holidays was I've made some good friends.
Absolutely.
Well, we both have. I mean, we're people. T. Graham, love you, brother.
And I ain't talked to you yet, but
but when he does,
man, I appreciate you. I do. It just, like I say, it just tickled me that he said he sang happy birthday to my daddy.
That's cool.
And he didn't have to do that.
No.
And
Sammy Kershaw wouldn't have done it. Nothing against Sammy, fellow Louisiana.
Yeah.
Sorry, we was a podcast.
Yeah. I told Sammy Kershaw where to park his bus one time.
Yeah. Straight to, no.
Well, no, I was in college, and when I joined the little campus activities board just so I could get into events for free. I didn't do nothing, And so I was, he was playing there at the college, and I'd been helping him, tote speakers and stuff like that. And I was taking a break, and I was standing there and wasn't doing nothing. And his bus pulled up, and I seen it was him driving. And I just decided I'd walk out there. So I walked out there, and he had went in the back of the bus. I knocked on the door, and he come back out. He said, "Hey, buddy, how you doing?" I said, "Doing fine." He said, "How's ticket sales?" I said, "Man, I don't have no idea, but you can park your bus over there."
Yes, indeed. Well,
now, why he thought I would know how ticket sales was doing, I don't know.
Now, if you go back into the archives of the shows that we've done, I've had Sammy has actually been on the Sammy has actually been on the show. I've talked to Sammy, right? Mm-hmm. Now that was a very heavy edited show. Now this may be the Scotch talking, and I'm not going back. And
well, you ain't had but one finger.
That's it. But that's enough. That's just enough. But it was a heavy edited show, and I'm sorry for all the Sammy Kershaw fans, but I doubt I ever, reach out to Sammy for an interview ever again. Which I didn't reach out to him; they reached out to me.
Well,
but and that comes another. What possesses people? I mean, look, T. Graham Brown, he's the real thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
He deserves, if he wants to be an asshole, he can be.
Well,
Marlon Hargis, he played with Exile and Jerry Reed and so many other people. They've opened for Aerosmith. He could be an asshole, but he was nice.
All right, so since it's generally agreed that Sam is an asshole, I say this. What did he really do, except for he kind of sounded like George Jones, and he ended up marrying Lori Morgan there for a little while? What else did he? I mean, that's it. That's it.
Right.
That's it. I mean, he did a damn song called "Queen of My Double Wide Trailer."
I can relate to that.
But it ain't. I can't relate. What I'm saying is that it's the kind of shit that makes me want to go lay on the railroad track. Yeah. It wasn't no good.
Well,
now I'll say this: "She Don't Know She's Beautiful" was a pretty decent tune. I think come along at the right time. But that "Queen of My Double Wide Trailer," oh my God.
And I'm sure there's a lot of people. I'm probably going to catch flack for all this.
Well, you know what? You know what? Yeah, that's fine. I mean, because I'm going to speak the truth as I know it. And if that gets
Sammy's records,
yeah, hey, rock and roll. I say go for it.
Sammy, if you want to sue me, get in line.
Yeah. Let me get. Here we go.
Go ahead. Here's to you, Sammy.
There's the rip.
There's another one you're going to like, too, which I had a chance this week to talk to Mr. Taylor Hicks.
Oh, yeah.
American Idol winner.
Yeah, I remember Taylor.
He'll be on the show.
Wasn't he from Mississippi, too?
No, you're going to like this. When he called, there was a mishap in my scheduling.
Uh-huh.
So I was out getting lunch, and he called, in which I had to skedaddle back to the recorder and get everything ready to rock and roll. Well, when we finally got in touch, the first thing he says is, "Where in Louisiana are you from?" And I say, "Well, Baton Rouge." Mm-hmm. And he says, "Oh, LSU Tiger football, huh?" I said, "Oh, yes, sir, you know." He said, "What you think about that coach, old Les?" And I started laughing a little bit, you know, blah, blah, blah. When he opens up on the interview, whenever we go into the introduction and everything, the first thing he says is, "Well, I'm from Birmingham, Alabama." First and foremost, I just want to put that out there for you, Russell. Now I know if Mudtooth was, that'd be fighting words, right?
Well,
because that's what I think he was trying to poke the bear.
Did he say? And folks, before I say this, I don't like the way it tastes in my mouth when I say it. Did he say Roll Tide?
No. If he did, I would have hung up.
All right, now he could be an Auburn fan.
Possibly.
You know, I don't know the man. You know, seen him on TV. Pretty decent harmonica player, which I admire. I don't care for his taste in clothes, but that's another. You know, that's for somebody else to decide.
I think he kind of got that 50s.
I don't know. I don't care for his taste in clothes, but he you know, he could be an Auburn fan. I don't know. You know, being from Birmingham, he could be an Auburn fan. I'm not saying he is. I ain't saying he ain't. But, you know, if he's an Alabama fan, well, you know how I feel about that.
Right. Yeah, I don't blame you. And but he's going to be out, you know, and a lot of these interviews are pre-recorded around the artists.
Sure.
You know, their schedule. So, you know, some of them are recorded a week, 2 weeks beforehand. But I think it'll be, next week we got James Otto on for the Tuesday show, which is Backstage with #RDM, and then no telling who's going to be on here with us. We need to get some more, because, I mean, that's...
I had a good time with that old gal.
It's just scheduling. Oh, yeah.
I know. That was fun.
Oh, yeah.
I liked it when you asked her if flamenco dancing was anything like the huckabuck.
Yeah, that was fun. Well,
that was good.
You know, she's an independent actor. And there's nothing against independent actors, you know?
Well, I mean, you know, I mean, everybody got to start somewhere, man. You know, Steve Carell used to do damn fast food commercials.
Yeah, but that's kind of cool.
Well, what I'm saying, yeah, but that's back before it was cool, though, you know. You know, everybody's got to start somewhere.
You're right. But,
you know, I mean, and you got to do a few of them B movies, you know.
I'm not saying the movie's bad. I don't know. I've never seen it, honestly.
What was it? You remember what the name of it?
Jake's Road.
Yeah.
Filmed in Folsom, Louisiana.
Yeah.
On Jake's Road.
On Jake's Road out there in Folsom.
And, you know, where she said she lived in Madisonville, Mandeville.
Shit. She don't live in no damn Madison.
Or stayed there. She liked to go to New Orleans.
She might have, you know, she knew somebody and stayed at their house or something.
Flamingo danced.
Yeah, danced with a flamingo. I tell you what, you know, you can go to the zoo and get a dance with them flamingos. Them zookeepers they chase you off.
Okay, you just topped it. Bro. You got it. You topped it.
Chase your ass clean out that zoo.
Have you seen this Krampus? Have you?
I seen an advertisement for it. And supposedly he's supposed to be like
he's an evil Santa Claus.
Well, it's like a European thing or something. Like, you know, over here, Santa Claus just bring you some coal in your stocking, or like now at my house, my daddy would tell me that if you was bad, Santa Claus was gonna bring you a bag full of switches and a hole in your britches.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, that don't sound good, does it? So, but there was no such thing as Krampus. You know, Krampus is something that a woman gets once a month when it, you know, when that time comes along, when Aunt Flo's visiting. But evidently, Krampus is like, you know, if you bad, he just comes to just get you or something. I don't know. He like Sackbilly or something. I don't know.
Or Peter Crunker.
Peter Crunker, yeah.
Krampus.
Throw him a titty or two.
Yeah, get away. Krampus was, you know, and we get requests. I get requests all the time for guest spots on the show. So
right.
And, you know, it's half and half. We get requests, and I also send invites.
Right.
You know? And I'm proud to say that we're probably, I mean, there's a lot of shows out there, but as far as independent, until February, we'll get into that in a minute, but as far as independent podcast networks or internet, whatever you want to call us, I'm proud to say that we've had a lot of great guests.
We have.
And it's very hard to do. You got to impress these people. Now, I get requests all the time, and the Krampus, it was in the thing, and I deleted it.
Really?
And I said, I'm not doing, I mean, we get the horror genre, you know, I don't get into it. I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to talk to some actor who was working at McDonald's and decided to go shoot a damn movie on his iPhone.
Right.
Yeah, you got to start somewhere, but, you know, you got to have at least a handheld camera.
Well, you know, you talk about that. You remember the Blair Witch Project.
Right.
Now, you know.
I think I was married to her.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, that old gal that was in there. She wasn't bad looking till she went to snotting. And that was bad because the camera was right there and you could see that old snot coming out of her nose. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. Anybody's ever seen, you know what I'm talking about. But anyway, you know, one of the cameras that they used to film that,
right?
They got it from like Circuit City.
Okay.
And when they finished shooting the movie, they brought it back to Circuit City and got their money back.
Well, yeah.
That's what kind of budget they had. Now you imagine, and they made hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yes, indeed.
I mean, they was dancing in the street. Cause they made that movie like my daddy always said for about $30, and most of that was spent on electricity.
Right.
You know, but cause you had 3 actors and nobody knew who they were. Shit, I don't know if they've been in anything ever since. And I'll be honest with you, y'all can say what you want to. I like that movie. People say, "Oh, well, you know."
I've seen bits and pieces.
You got to play their little game with them, you know, because the whole deal was, and man, you got to remember when this came out, it was on the internet, and it's like, man, they found this footage, you know, and it was supposed to be like real, and then the cat got out of the bag because somebody's always gonna let the cat out of the bag,
right?
You know? But that it wasn't, you know. But a lot of people, they didn't like it, you know, because the camera moved around so much, or they didn't like the end, or whatever. And I say, just give it a chance. You know, if you got to play their game with them and say, okay, let's just pretend, let's play pretend, okay, that this is some footage that people found, and that these are real people. And if you do that, it's not bad. It's not that bad of a show. And it got some creepy moments in it, but I just never understood why you got 3 people in the woods and ain't none of them got a gun. I ain't figured that shit out yet. Because I'm going to tell you something. If I'm going to spend a night in the woods, I got a gun.
That's it.
You know, I got me a gun.
Well.
And plenty bullets.
Like I said, I never seen it. But like I said, I had a request for the Krampus.
Krampus.
Krampus. The first one, not the second one.
I used to know a dude named Krampus.
I had the request for Krampus or the guy that directed the movie or whatever to be on the show, and I threw it away. And then here comes, I'm watching Rudolph or some shit the other day with the kids, and it keeps popping up. Well, damn.
All right, let me ask you this. Do you have Rudolph on DVD at your house?
No.
Okay, I think we do, but you have had it. Mm-hmm. Okay, I think we do. Now, see, I grew up in a time when there wasn't no DVDs. Hell, I was.
Was it the disc?
No. I mean, we had like VHS players, but even then, there was a time where that didn't exist.
They had
that was the stuff. Oh, they had the big laser disc. Yeah, it looked like a record.
My grandma still has.
But we didn't have that. Okay, we had a television. And so Rudolph came on one night a year, and by God, if you wanted to see it, you was there.
Right.
See, and that's I think we've lost at it. That's one thing. People used to because that was an event, man.
It was.
That was a deal. You couldn't just watch it whenever you wanted to. Oh, let me, it's the middle of July and I feel Christmassy. Let me throw Rudolph in the damn DVD player. You couldn't do that.
Nope.
Charlie Brown come on the other night. I said, all right. I'm sitting there. And they sang that song, Christmas Time is Here. And I said, you know what it is? Because that's when I see that's when it's Christmas time to me. I don't really start feeling it. And look, we done, Mudtooth family, we done got the lights on the house and we done got the tree up and all this, But I didn't really start feeling it. And the Christmas music, by God, they start playing it before Thanksgiving now, which I don't even get. You know, but it's you know, I don't start feeling it till I see Charlie Brown on Rudolph on TV. And yeah, I like that. You know, and I think that's something we miss. Like I say, you don't have it anymore because you can watch it whenever you want to, whenever you feel like it. I don't like that.
No, I don't care for that either. It wasn't even. I remember you had to have a bath.
Oh yeah.
You had to have everything out of the way.
Oh yeah.
You sat down and as I got older, you know, in kindergarten, well, first, second grade, that meant after next week, I'm out of school.
Mm-hmm.
That 2-3 weeks.
Oh yeah.
I'm done.
Yeah, you kind of set your calendar by it, you know. Speaking of Rudolph, I'll tell you a story.
I've never seen him.
Well, we were at a relative's. I don't know, 4 or 5 years old, maybe.
A youngin'.
Yeah, and it was Christmas Eve, and we were at a relative's house, probably one of my aunts or my grandmother or something. And it done got, you know, nighttime. And I knew that I needed to get on home and get to bed where Santa Claus could come.
Right. He's ready to go.
So I kept telling Mom and Daddy, you know, we need to go.
Right.
We need to go. And, of course, I was visiting, and I didn't want to, you know, listen to me. Well, when we got outside, I happened to look up, and I saw, and I know now, you know, that it was an airplane.
Right.
Passing over, but I saw that blinking red light. And I said, there's Rudolph right there. I told y'all we needed to go. Now, that's true.
Christmas.
Now, that's true. I did that. I was 5 years. I did. I can remember it like it was yesterday. Mm-hmm. And we laughed about it. Me and my mom and dad was laughing about it the other day.
Yeah, we've had events. And they're pretty. I'm not going to talk about them because they're pretty embarrassing. It was usually me, you know. But you know, going from Christmas to now, have you seen any good movies lately?
No, I ain't been. I want to go see the James Bond movie.
I want to see Creed.
I want to see that. I heard it was good. Ronnie Mcdowell said it was good.
It was pretty good.
Yeah. I want to see that because basically Rocky has turned into Mickey now. But yeah, I want to see that. I really want to see that new James. I love James Bond, and you know, I could have been I think I could have been a gentleman spy, but I don't think. Well, Louisiana don't have no use for him. I mean, and I can't too much go to England and talking the way I do and become one. Mm-hmm. But I do want to go see that.
Well, you know
and the new Hunger Games is out.
I heard it was horrible.
Well, we probably go. I gotta. It's my little girl's birthday this weekend, and so we going out of town. Oh, matter of fact, going to the casino. She's quite the little blackjack player. So that's just a joke. No, she actually they got a Christmas show.
Oh, really?
At the casino, and we went to it last year, and she really liked it, and so we're gonna go again this year. And I like it because I ain't gonna have no birthday party.
LFO?
It's at the Paragon. I think it's like a Cirque du Soleil kind of deal. But anyway, yeah, we're gonna go to casino and let her see the little show she likes. Now, I like it because I ain't gonna have a birthday party here at the house. You know?
I'm a freeloader.
That's right. You know, eat all my hot dogs.
Yeah.
But no, it was a pretty good little show last year. So I mean, they had like an elf, they had a little person. They had a little person. I was about to say the M word, as in you know.
You can only say that in wrestling.
Yeah.
Wrestling.
Yeah, like I was talking about midget wrestling or something.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I was about to say that, and but a little person. They had a little person. He's the elf, and he was a good one. You know, he was a good little elf. You know,
he also doubles as one of the lollipop kids.
Yeah, he was funny. He was funny, and but anyway, they had, and they had people singing and like ice skating and stuff. It was cool.
I had the chance to actually watch the remake of. Well, it ain't a remake. It's I guess a follow up of Vacation.
Oh yeah. How was that?
It's not Chevy Chase.
No.
It's Rusty. Right?
Yeah.
It's so. It ain't bad. Rusty's a complete dumbass.
Yeah.
And he's kind of like...
kind of like he was in the movie.
Right, kind of like, the Chevy Chase character was, but Chevy Chase is in it, which he's hilarious.
Yeah.
Which he isn't, he's older now, but he's still hilarious.
Right.
I think it was pretty good. I laughed. It was fun.
I'm going to have to check it out.
I would put the kids to bed before, it had pretty race, I guess. I don't know. We kind of, it got that R rating. We don't really let them watch it.
Right,
They know more about that stuff than we do.
Sure.
But,
now, I was talking about James Bond a while ago.
yes.
They got this.
007.
Yeah, that's right. They got this Kingsman.
I think I've seen that.
I saw it. Look, I liked it. And they got the actor. His name is Colin Firth. And and the man was in. He was in the King's Speech. I think it won the Academy Award. And this different things. And he was in Bridget Jones' Diary. I don't see him as an action guy.
Right.
But, I mean, I just seen in there where he killed a room full of people while Freebird was playing wide open. I mean, I ain't never seen nothing like that. All right, that's just, you think about that. Now, here's a British guy. And it was a church. And it's a church. All right. Now, it was like a church. It was like one of these, what is that, that bunch that wants to go protest all the funerals and all that. Westboro, a bunch of nuts. But anyway, it's kind of like, it was a place like that. But it's a church full of people. And he went through, and there was this mass chaos going on, and then Freebird was playing wide open, and here's this British guy who, was in a movie where he played the King of England, and he killed a room full of people. I mean, it was something. It was something to see. But it's a good movie. Samuel L. Jackson's in it. Michael Caine's in it. The feller, I can't think of his name. He was in Sherlock Holmes. He was a bad guy on Sherlock Holmes. But anyway, he's in it. British guy, And it's good. Man, I tell you, them some bitches can dress.
Oh, yeah.
They can dress, boy. I mean, put on the dog. I mean, to get that fine. I ain't no telling what them suits cost.
Well, they got some biopics coming out. One with called "I Saw the Light" about.
Oh yeah, and the guy who played Loki is going to be Hank Williams Jr.
Come on.
I mean, not Hank Williams. He's going to be Hank Sr.
Hank Sr.
Yeah. The guy. Let that sink in, folks. The guy who played Loki on the Avengers, a fellow named Tom Hiddleston, if I'm not mistaken.
That's his name. That's right.
And he is playing the late great Hank Williams.
I also got a little inside on this too. Maybe you know, maybe you don't know, but I had the liberty of kind of chatting back and forth with one of the writers from Straight Outta Compton, with the rappers, Ice Cube.
Yeah, NWA.
There you go.
Eazy-E, Dr. Dre, that whole bunch.
Yeah, Anyway,
we used to listen to all that back in the day because you had to.
Well, the only thing I know Ice Cube from Friday.
Yeah, but see, you got to say like when that came out, like they were some of the first ones that would cuss.
Oh,
they say the F word, and so that was cool, right? Didn't matter what it was. It was a bunch of rednecks, right? But I was like, man, did he just say what I thought he said? What? And so we was listening to it'd be like a copy of a copy of a copy of a tape, and you ride around town, boy, you should be blasting, right? But when you get around people, you have to turn it way down because you want your mama to know you're listening.
Right.
Oh yeah.
And when you've seen a black guy, and I'm not stereotyping, but if you've at a red light, seen a black guy walking around, you reach over and lock your door.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely.
You done listen to that and it's got your mind warped.
Yeah. Oh, it was something. We used to listen to all that, Two Live Crew.
Oh, I remember them.
Oh, yeah. But, yeah, they thinking about, I got approached. I turned them down. I got approached by those people. They wanted to do one about me called Straight Outta Kentwood.
Everybody was doing their thing, straight out of whatever, straight out of this. But the one I seen that I loved the most was the Roddy Piper one, and it said, "I'm straight out of bubble gum."
Yeah. Well, the one I saw was the old boy out of it was old the killer out of Silence of the Lambs.
Mm-hmm.
He said straight out of lotion.
There you go. There you go. It puts the lotion on the skin.
Put it in a basket.
Well, what I was getting to, and I mean, we're everywhere today,
Right.
so I'm glad all of y'all are listening and paying attention.
That's right.
There's going to be a George Jones biopic
Oh, yeah?
by the same guy that had a hand in Straight Outta Compton.
Okay.
We're going to have him on here at some point.
Okay.
All right, and I know I promised the Tommy Chong thing, and that's going to happen. Unfortunately, probably won't happen in 2015, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Because we've also been approached by a piano player who is actually a premier podcasting syndicated radio network
Okay.
owned by Slate, the Slate Group.
Okay.
SLAT, which Slate Group, that's the people that handle, all right, you ready for this? Going to blow your socks off. Sports Illustrated, Huffington Post, and God, there's so many. You can go find, I mean.
Right, yeah, I know who you're talking about.
SlateGroup.com, whatever, you can go check it out. Well, talked with them last week, and right now we're shooting February.
Cool.
Where not just, I thought they was interested in maybe one show.
Mm-hmm.
They want all of it.
Well,
They want a partner. And hey, if you got the money, honey,
that's right.
I got the time.
Come on with it.
Tanya and I sat down and we've talked everything over, and we had a chance to talk to Mr. Moses. This is actually his name from the Pano Play Network.
Uh-huh.
And
what name was Moses, was it?
No, he had to.
Just asking.
But he, it looks like some things are looking up. But, I got to admit, I got to thinking, well, if they're interested, wonder if CBS or Podcast One or ABC or one of those might be interested. And then, that was greedy of me. I shouldn't have done that. So we're going to stick to our guns and hopefully everything work out. So come February, March, you'll be hearing the Radio Random Network, Mudtooth and Russell Show, Backstage with #RDM, and whatever other show we got coming up on our network. You'll hear us on Spotify. You'll hear us not only on Spotify, but iHeartRadio. Pandora is actually...
Oh, are they going to get into the podcast business too?
Yes. So we did a damn good job at this for two hillbillies that...
That's not too bad.
Sit around a table.
Folks, as we speak, we are in our super secret underground headquarters. But that super secret underground headquarters, it looks a lot like my dining room. Yes. Right? I mean, it looks. I have taken. I have spared no effort. I mean, it's no expense. I've really put in the toil to make this place look just like my dining room at home.
Well, that very first show, which I wanted to air the other week, but I sent it off to actually get remastered because I wanted it to be good.
Okay.
Because
we did that on the phone.
Yes, because the computers, and that's two.
It was in the middle of an ice storm.
Yeah, it was a Tuesday. We recorded the first show, and we've come a long way.
We've come a long way,
and we're still doing it. And,
that's right.
Anybody, I'm sure there's an asshole sitting out there saying, and I've been told this, that all you need is an ether cable to have a podcast. You're right. It ain't not anybody can do this. As a matter of fact, if you want to do it, I can hook you up with all kind of research and everything that we've done. But to have a successful one, you got to have the it factor.
And I think
that's something you just can't buy at the Guitar Center or Walmart.
They don't sell it. They don't sell it at the Walmart.
And
I can tell you that.
If you think I'm bragging, you're right.
Yeah, don't drink it.
Yeah, that's nasty. I keep forgetting it's out of date.
Don't drink it.
But Mudtooth, it has been a hell of a ride, and we're in December. This year's flown by.
It has, hasn't it?
Yes. And since we was bragging, I mean, T. Graham Brown listens.
He does, and it tickles me every time I think about it. It really does. And if you're listening, then I hope you are. I mean, I know you're busy. You got stuff you're doing, but
$10,000 worth of stuff.
Yeah, but you know, it tickles me that you listen to this.
And the heads up in Kentucky.
That's right, boys. Good, you know, God bless you, boys.
And I'm going to tell you, you know, Ronnie McDowell, he's been on here 3 times, but it was him. I think it was last year at this time. I think Tanya shared a picture of me sitting at the house. It looked like I was in pajamas. I don't remember what I was wearing.
I know what picture.
A year ago, December 1st, I was doing a show with Wayne Toops, and it started with Wayne Toops. I think the next big act was Ronnie McDowell.
I think you're right.
And I'm pretty sure you got tired of getting screenshots of emails of, well, look who, you know, we've made it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, and I remember it was fine. Yeah, okay. All right, whatever.
I'm gonna tell you something. That we got that, and I don't know if Ronnie McDowell listens to this or not. But,
I'm not sure.
But if you are, you know, we got that show. Y'all got that show coming up on the 12th, and we gonna. I promise we'll be on our best behavior.
We'll try to be.
But now, you know. I do want to see that Mandy Barnett. I want to take a picture with her. You know, she doesn't mean Patsy Cline.
Does she?
Oh, yeah.
You know Deborah Allen's going to be there.
Yeah, I know that. Baby, I lied. How many times have I heard that shit?
And before we go, you know...
Not that song. I'm talking about the phrase.
Last night I had a chance to get a photo op and talk with Mr. Aaron Neville. I'll tell you all about that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I know you kind of...
I like Aaron. He's a good old boy.
Right.
He's a good Louisiana boy. Oh, you know, New Orleans cat.
Yeah. That's just that sometimes that voice. You know, I was just thinking of that.
Well, you know, I mean, everybody's got their thing, you know.
I don't know much.
Yeah. But I know I love you.
That's all I need.
To know.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
That's my best Aaron Neville.
All right, y'all. Be sure and rate and review the show on iTunes, Stitcher Radio.
Please do.
Radio.
Have we gotten some more reviews?
I have not checked. I think we're up to like 26 or 27. We
cool.
can use a few more.
We need some more. Y'all go and give me some reviews. Send me some emails.
Send him an email, mudtooth@radiorandomnetwork.com.
Although Russell still ain't giving my password, so I can't check my email.
I'll give it to you before we leave. I think I may know it by heart. I don't remember.
No, we're figuring it.
You could get it and change it or whatever.
Well,
Russell@radiorandomnetwork.com for if you want to be a sponsor or if you want your quality item talked about right here on the Radio Random Network.
which we'd be glad to do.
Yes, indeed. That's feedback.
That's right.
RadioRandomNetwork.com. At RRN Live on Twitter. At Russ and Mud Show on Twitter. At Real Mudtooth on Twitter as well.
Mm-hmm.
And you can find all of that at www.radiorandomnetwork.com. And we got a giveaway this month, by the way. Thanks to our friend, Mr. Phil Vassar.
Oh, yeah, old Phil.
And I want to send a shout out.
That's old man Vassar's boy.
Yes, he is.
Mm-hmm.
And I
That's
want to
Vassar's
send a shout
son.
out from my friend, Mr. Scott Atkins of the Webster Public Relations, Webster and Associates, whatever they're called. Sent us a goodie bag the other day.
Ain't nothing like a goodie bag.
I think they. Now I got the Gene Watson.
You did.
Sign, and you got the.
I got a picture of Tanya Tucker.
And so
thank you, Miss Tucker.
So that leaves us with the greatest hits, Phil Vassar CD, and a signed autograph 8x10, Phil Vassar. We're going to give that away this month to some lucky listener.
There you go.
Just go to RadioRandomNetwork.com. Sign up for the newsletter.
Sign up for that newsletter. It's free.
The little rewards generator will spit your name out, maybe, hopefully. You know.
If it comes by your name, you win.
You win. And we send that stuff to you. With that said, stay tuned. We got an interview that I did a couple of weeks ago, or a week ago, rather, with Mike Fleming, bass player for the SteelDrivers.
The SteelDrivers.
You know who the SteelDrivers is?
I know who the SteelDrivers is.
That is Chris Stapleton's old band.
Yeah.
That's the ones that got him rolling.
Yeah, I tell you what. I mean, it's a bluegrass band, and I know a lot of people bluegrass ain't their thing. I like it. I like bluegrass music. But it's not quite just straight. It ain't like the old timey, like a Bill Monroe kind of bluegrass band.
It's
but
progressive.
Yes, progressive, and they're very good.
And they
very
got
good.
the Muscle Show Session, which is their new album that's out. Send a shout out to
I'd be kind of interested to hear that.
Yes, indeed.
Because I always like the Muscle Show
Hook
sound.
you up. I do have I got something for you. I can send to you via email.
Good deal.
Again, go back and listen to all of our old shows on RadioRandomNetwork.com. Pretty soon, all the old Sounds of Louisiana podcasts for all the local people that's listening.
That's right.
They're going to be back up, but you got to sign up for the VIP to hear all that, the old good stuff, the good old stuff.
Oh, the VIP.
That's it, baby. We ain't giving this shit away for free.
No.
I'm just playing. It's going to be for free. You just got to sign up so we know who's listening.
Yeah.
With that said, I'm hashtag RDM Russell Devin McLean.
And you got the tooth here.
And we will be back next Friday right here on the Radio Random Network and iHeartRadio. Thank you for listening. See you later.
If you enjoyed this episode,
Please leave us a review on iTunes.
All right, our guest here today on the Russell and Mudtooth Show right here on the Radio Random Network, he is the bass player for the bluegrass band, the SteelDrivers. I'm talking to none other than Mike Fleming. Mike, how are you doing today, brother?
Woo! I'm doing great. I'm actually in Nashville, where majority of us live, and it's kind of cool, but it's a bright, sunny day, and life is good. I can't complain.
I hear you, friend. I hear you. So real quick, man, what's been happening with the SteelDrivers? I know you guys have been busy doing some touring. You got an album that's been out for. You said it was relatively new, but we'll talk about it here in a few minutes. But what's been going on?
Well, that's a lot of it. You put a new CD or record out, and you get out amongst them, as my dad would say. And we have been on the road pretty hard since June, playing many spots as we can in some of our favorite festivals too, and just to try to get the word out that we have a new CD and that we think it's a Jim Dandy. Let's put it that way.
Yes, indeed. We're going to get to all that in a few minutes, but I want to know right now, Mike, we're going to focus on you and your career a little bit. How did you get involved with music as a profession?
Well, I'm gonna date myself, Russell, because I am the oldest steel driver. So I got interested when I was a kid, and I saw the Beatles on Ed Sullivan, and when I saw that, I wanted a guitar. So shortly after, I got a guitar and started banging on it. And as I went through school, I played in rock bands in high school back in the late '60s, and then moved into college era and played more folk music, and then all of a sudden, just through that period there, I met Mike Henderson, one of the original band members, and he and I became friends playing music, and we got interested in bluegrass, and that takes me up to the late '70s and early '80s. That was, I'd never touched a bass, just a little bit, but not a whole lot. So a lot of it just was the interest, was the music of the day, that was driven on the radio.
Yes, indeed. Now, you're also the baritone singer for the band, correct?
I am the baritone singer. Thank you. I appreciate that. Because we've got a kind of a joke. Tammy will go, and Mike sings that baritone part, that easy part, the low baritone.
Yes, indeed. And Tammy, we're talking about Tammy Rogers, who is the fiddle player for the.
Oh yeah. Oh gosh, yeah.
But okay, so let's take it. We're going to fast forward, I guess, up to now. Now, you have, it's you now. Are you the original member, or the only original member of the SteelDrivers? As far
no, not at all.
Started?
No, sir. Tammy Rogers is, and I am, and so is Richard Bailey, our banjo player.
Okay.
And so the all the vocal background is there, original, and some of the instrumentation. So there's three of us.
That's pretty interesting. So give us a little insight on how the SteelDrivers came to be.
Okay. Mike Henderson was the common thread, and he had been writing songs with Chris Stapleton, and Mike had an idea, maybe, why don't we put together, none of us had played bluegrass in a long time. We'd all been involved. I mean, Richard was still playing some bluegrass, but Sammy and I had been involved playing the country acts and singer-songwriters for a long time. And but anyway, so Mike knew everybody, and we came together one night over at his house, and the idea was, let's, maybe put together a little bluegrass band with some originals and see if we can make a little extra money on, every week playing someplace. And, I know it was, so, we did a couple of covers, and then, the Henderson and Stapleton figured, oh, well, why don't we try this song, see if it'll work, with these instruments. And we tried something like Peacemaker or, Drinking Dark Whiskey, and, put an arrangement to it and vocals, and it's like, hey, that's pretty good. And I think that night Mike would tape the things, take the sessions on just a single microphone, and then he would burn a CD. And I think we came away with about 4 songs, original ones that they had written, and I listened to them in the car. Everybody just listened to them in the car and went, that's pretty good stuff. And it sounded real good on one microphone. So that was how it started. And from there it was like, no covers. We're gonna learn all original music.
Yes, indeed. Now, real quick, and I'm sure that you get asked this a lot because former, I guess, founding member Chris Stapleton is now pretty much, I guess, as of a couple of weeks ago, the end-all, be-all of country music. What was it like working with Chris Stapleton, man?
Well, none of us knew Chris except for Mike, because he had been writing songs with him for about 5 years. And Chris is a wonderful guy, and he's just as sweet as can be. And a lot of people, I think, sometimes think he's not friendly, but he is friendly. He's just kind of shy, around people. And but on stage, he is a powerhouse, just a powerhouse. And so it was wonderful. I mean, with Chris up there, and then Tammy's vocals, and I was getting schooled on vocals, and it was, for me, it was just an amazing time. That first year was 2 years, maybe learning songs and then putting together a CD. But yeah, with Chris on stage, it was a lot of fun. He was having a big time, and we all had a great time. We really did.
Yes, indeed. I mean, Chris went on to do his own thing, but I mean, you guys kept trucking, and I guess coming forward into getting Gary Nichols as vocals. I mean, who is either equal to, and no disrespect to Chris Stapleton, but maybe the vocals might be a little bit more powerful with Gary Nichols. I'm not, in my personal opinion, but
right. Well, I think we were in I think Annapolis, and there's a gentleman that writes for the paper up there, and I think the Post, I'm not sure, but he's been a fan, and he said he came and saw us first time, that we had Gary and not Chris, and he came away going, the band is just as good as it ever was. He goes, Chris is a soul shouter, Gary is a soul singer. And I thought that was a pretty good analogy of the two men. They are they're equal in their prowess, no doubt. And it's just a little difference, but it's the secret ingredient of the SteelDrivers, to have a good soul singer.
Most definitely. Well, we were talking a while ago about the Muscle Shoals recordings, which is the album you guys come out with about 5 months ago, but you guys debuted it #1 on the Billboard's bluegrass charts. Now, Was that the first time the band debuted on the charts like that?
Yes, it sure was. It was the first time, and it was just amazing. It was great. I think it might have stayed there 2 weeks. I'm not sure. And believe it or not, I just got the scans this week, and we're number 3.
Wow.
So we've never dropped out of the top 10, and it's a really strong showing, and I think we've maybe sold now 10,000 units of it, so it's pretty good for a band in our genre, or where we reside in the musical scheme of groups and things.
Most definitely. Now, by the way, for all the SteelDriver fans out there that's maybe just tuning in, for any and all information about the SteelDrivers, the touring, you can pick up the music and all that good stuff. You can go to www.thesteeldrivers.com. You can find all that good information there, even connect with them on social media. Sitting here talking to bass player Mike Fleming of the SteelDrivers. Now, Mike, yes, sir. What's in store for 2016? Do y'all have any good projects up your sleeve that maybe you can give us a little insight on?
Well, let's see. I think we're still going to be promoting this CD some. It's relatively new, and we're some of the what I want to say, the chances of getting some type of a nominations or those type of things we missed because when it came out we missed the IBMAs and the Americana deadlines, but we're okay for next year with them. So I think we'll be still pressing this CD a little bit more, but and touring more. I think we're going to be playing a little bit more with in the country arena, maybe, some country festivals, as well as our bluegrass festivals, and always trying to think about what's next. It's kind of hard to think what's next when you still got a project that's pretty fresh. So, but that's about all I got right now.
Yes, indeed. Well, I mean, Mike, you were talking about playing getting, I guess, into the more mainstream country music thing. Now, as you've been in the game for a long time, especially the bluegrass side of things. Have you seen a more, I guess, which I mean, they were real close anyway with the country music, bluegrass. I mean. But have you seen a transition pretty much with that, I guess, a more acceptance from a modern country fan to the bluegrass genre?
Yeah. I think I really think that we crossed genres pretty well. The Americana world recognized us with the nomination one time. We've been nominated for country Grammys in the past. We've been, with bluegrass type of nominations, and we've always said that the SteelDrivers treat the song. The song is what's first, and we treat it the best we can with the instruments that we play. And that doesn't mean we're going to play it like a bluegrass song. These are our instruments, and if it's going to be a rock and blues kind of song, that's the way it sounds best. That's the way we play it. If it's going to be a waltz, that's the way we play it. But we kind of serve the song. And so I think that is kind of crossed because we play less straight bluegrass, let's put it, on our records than most people do.
Yes, indeed. Now, before I know you got probably a busy day ahead of you, and I got a few more things here I want to go discuss with you. The first thing is that Muscle Shoals recording, the new CD. What was the inspiration behind that, Mike?
Well, part of it was to kind of get out of Nashville. For us to get out. Now, Gary lives down there. That's kind of his home turf.
Right.
And it was, let's go where Gary is comfortable, where he's at home, and let's get ourselves out of Nashville and kind of away from our everyday life and kind of get entrenched in the studio down there and the restaurants and the people and just absorb what we can. And that's what we did. And I think it really helped, because we could keep focused on the music. We set up kind of like we did for the first CD. We just had these baffles, separating us, and everybody could see everybody. It just seemed to be, easy, and it gave Gary some time to stretch out. And I think vocally he stretched out more than he did on Hammer Down, the first CD. And I think that this CD is, really represents the current ensemble of players a lot, because we have played together now with Gary and Brent for probably 4 years, and it's a tight unit. And I think the Muscle Shoals really represents this band, and especially Gary's guitar playing and his singing, because he really kind of stretched out on his singing, which is just wonderful, as you know.
Yes, indeed. I do know. With all of that said, man, before I let you go, and it's something I guess I ask everybody that's on here, is there any advice you can give to any up-and-coming musicians, recording artists, or songwriters that might want to follow in your footsteps or the band's footsteps?
Well, I've talked to a few folks, and I would say you need to be original. And original means you have to know yourself, I guess, as a musician. You also need to have original material and not covers if you want to make that step to becoming an artist and not just somebody that plays covers in front of people. Nothing's wrong with that, but to make that other step, you need to have a good original material. And if you're lucky enough to live in Nashville, then you can find a plethora of musicians that can back you up, and they usually do it for next to nothing.
Yes,
so
indeed.
That's my 2 cents anyway.
Well, I do appreciate it. By the way, for all the SteelDrivers fans out there, on December 2nd, they're going to be performing at the Down Home in Johnson City, Tennessee. And the show can be heard live from concert windows. It's going to be a live show.
Oh, yeah.
And that's in Johnson City. And if you want tickets to that or show information, you can go to downhome.com or go to the SteelDrivers.com, and they got all the good information there for that as well. Mike, I had a great time talking to you. It was an honor and a pleasure, friend. And
oh, Russell, thank you. My pleasure. People like you help us get our message out, people that are interested in music that's not the mainstream, and we can't thank you enough for taking an interest in our music. No, big thanks to you, too.
It's my pleasure. Well, with all that said, Mike, I'm going to go ahead and let you go and let you get on with your day, friend, and I've had a great time sitting here talking to you again. It was an honor and a pleasure. Let us know if there's anything we can do for you down the road, friend.
I will, and I hope I meet you somewhere down that old Lonesome Bluegrass Highway, Russell.
You probably will, brother. Y'all take care of yourselves.
You too. Take care.
All
Bye-bye.
right, brother. All right, man.
Same time, same place, next week.